I'm a little bit sick today and it's hot outside, so I had to close my window and turn off my conditioner to film this. Let's just hope that I don't melt by the end of this video. And also, I need some lip gloss because this is ridiculous. It's Witch time. Witch as in this Italian show that you've probably seen on TV. I don't know if you watched Jetix when you were a kid, but a lot of channels that I watched had Jetix shows, which is basically Disney buying one of the channels, like cartoon channels, and then rebranding it. I loved Witch when I was a kid. Great show. Why is there an ant in here? Just one. That's enough to make me nervous though. That's enough to make me nervous. I threw it out of the house. Didn't kill it, because obviously there's no need to do that. Let's talk about Witch and what it's all about. Witch is it was created around the same time as Winx was, also an Italian production. The girls of this show are a lot younger than Winx. I think that everyone except for Cornelia are 12 turning 13 when the show starts. And the thing about that is that usually I style characters that are 16 plus. So in this case, there's gonna be some outfits that are a little bit older, but just imagine them to be a little bit more children appropriate. I don't know, because the thing is, it's hard to find good outfits that are for like 12-year-olds, but a lot of these outfits could be used for 12-year-olds. So let's get into it, and if I remember anything else that I didn't mention, I will just mention it as we go. So this is the girls that we're dealing with: Will, Cornelia, Taranee, Irma, and Helene. And we're gonna start with Will. She is one of the easiest characters to style just because she is so casual. Just everything that she wears is a hoodie, a zip-up hoodie or something like that, a t-shirt, a sweater, jeans or pants that are quite baggy and comfortable. She basically prioritizes comfort, and comfort to her is wearing something quite sporty, but not quite. Like, it's not super sporty as much as it's just comfortable clothing and casual clothing, you know? So I decided to pick a zip-up hoodie. The only difference between what she usually wears and this image is that it wouldn't be a crop top. It would be just a little bit of a longer shirt underneath as well. She doesn't wear that many crop tops in general. Anything along these lines. I saw just one ant and now I'm paranoid that they somehow got in. Not seeing anymore, but am I nervous about it? Yes. I've also put some baggy jeans with a casual shirt. Same thing here. And one of these images is, of course, I had to use an image where I saw this frog, this keychain or whatever the hell it is. This looks exactly like the frog that she has on her backpack in the cartoon. Like, exactly the same. If any of you actually like watched the show before, I'm sure you would look at it and be like, oh my god, that's literally the frog that she had everywhere. Not just on her backpack, but everywhere in her room, and all of her accessories had frogs on them. It's kind of like one of my friends who's obsessed with frogs. I get it, they're cute. Second character that we're gonna talk about is Cornelia, which she has a little bit of a difference between her personality in the show. Just got blinded by a bus. There's a bit of a difference in personality between Cornelia in the show and Cornelia in the comics. In the comics, she is not as concerned with her looks or with fashion. She doesn't really say any snarky comments to the girls or anything like that. But I think that in their dynamic, I understand why the animators went with a different personality for her, or at least a bit of a personality shift, because they needed to have more of a dynamic relationship in the group. Most of the time, that's what happens when something gets adapted to an animated series. There needs to be a good rapport going on. It makes sense. I'm kind of relying on the images and looks from her TV show look. Some of the images from the comics, she's referred to by everyone, and the way that she behaves, she kind of suggests that herself, that she's a bit of a girl interested in fashion. But it's a little bit confusing because I don't think that she has that many super out there looks or anything that makes it look like she's particularly obsessed with clothes. I guess that all the girls get equal treatment in terms of outfits, so it doesn't jump out at you that she's supposed to be the fashionable one. However, she does have quite a bit of elegant lines to her clothing. Specifically, for example, if she's wearing a long skirt, it's definitely one that has some structure to it. It looks quite nice in terms of lines, in terms of the way that it drapes. And I have this image, it's kind of like a compilation of a bunch of images from the comics. She definitely prefers long, like like maxi skirts. So I've put a few images for maxi skirts. For example, if she were to wear a maxi skirt, she would most likely wear a very straight maxi skirt that's a little bit rigid. Not all the time, but one of her most worn outfits in the show is this pink denim skirt. So if I would go for a long skirt, I would probably go for a denim skirt with something like this type of top that would not only mimic her outfit in the show, like right here, but also, or like this type of shirt too would be okay, but just not in black because she doesn't really wear black. Something that looks elegant. There's a lot of skirts that are long, a lot of maxi skirts in the world, a lot of denim maxi skirts in the world. It's just, it doesn't mean that they look good. It doesn't mean that they look elegant. So for Cornelia, it's really important to pick a skirt that would actually make her look elegant and not frumpy in some kind of way, you know? Even a skirt like this could work, even though it's a little bit more low-rise than the other two that I've shown before. It still could work because it's kind of 2000 fashion. This type of skirt here on the left, of course, styled differently, but it could work. But I would be inclined to go with a denim skirt still, just because of how often she wore that skirt in the show. Put an off-the-shoulder shirt like this. This references more of her look from the comics, like for example, this look. It's really hard to tell here, but as well as maybe a dress like this. It has something very elegant about it and quite classic. That's what I was confused about, because she kind of is supposed to be this fashionable character where it's not like she's poorly dressed or anything like that, but she's more lenient to the classic side where you're relying on classic pieces rather than current trends. So it seems like, I don't know, there was a lot of emphasis on the fashion in the show in terms of how they talk about her, but it wasn't shown as much. I still think that she looks great and it's a really well-designed character, but still. Also, one of the important things that took me a really long time to find, I'm gonna show you this image. So this is Cornelia wearing this shirt. Do you remember these shirts? Because I unlocked a memory today of shirts that had this hoop or this metal ring. They were kind of like halter tops, but instead of having like string or something like that, inside it had a hoop that would go around your neck. And I remember that so many girls who were older than me, who were like teenagers, you know, back then they were wearing those things, and I was just like, oh my god, I want this shirt so bad, you know. Everyone wanted it or everyone had it. It's just like one of those things where I was really confused why I couldn't find a lot of examples of this shirt from the 2000s available online. It confused the hell out of me. I don't know why it's nowhere to be found. I found one image, maybe two, and then all the other ones, they just had like some metallic embellishments on the bottom part or whatever. And it's like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not the same. That's not the same as a whole ass hoop in the middle, you know? What I mean by it is this, right? So this kind of neckline with this hoop right here. And the hoops that I remember, they were a little bit thicker than this in this image. And the tops were always fun colors, not just black or something like that. And I'm just so confused as to why I couldn't find anything like that. It shouldn't be that difficult to find those images. It's not like I'm looking for some relics from 17th century. It's a shirt from 2005 or something like that, you know? Just so strange that it's not well documented at all. And the only proof that I have for the fact that it was a popular thing is just the fact that Cornelia is wearing it. Let's move on to Irma. She is really funny. And the thing is, with Irma, she actually has a lot of fashionable pieces that she's wearing. Like, for example, this outfit was quite fashionable and also just a little bit of an outfit that I wouldn't expect on a 13-year-old. I don't really care as much as it's just very stark contrast to other clothes that they wear in the show. It just seems like a very big drastic change between this outfit and what they usually wear. But in any case, also this jacket, remember it. I've put this outfit here because it reminded me of Irma. It just felt like, I don't know, I just saw this girl and I was like, it looks like Irma to me. Irma doesn't really wear a lot of oversized clothing, but this specific combination with the hairstyle and the accessories kind of reminded me of her, as well as some outfits like this. Reminds me of her outfits that she wears that look like this. A little bit of a going to a rock band gig vibe. Something like this. Very 2000s, the type of shirt that this is. I've also put this outfit here. The color scheme is a little bit... actually, this is kind of the type of thing that she would wear. Maybe some tights, maybe a little bit more layering of different types of shirts. A lot of the stuff that these girls are wearing is similar to the way that Disney stars were dressed in their show shows like Hannah Montana, Wizards of Waverly Place and stuff like that, like those types of shows, a lot of their layering is on another level of how many layers that they have on. I would say that this show doesn't have as many patterns or as many crazy combinations, and I think that it's only because these girls are animated, so patterns in general are just not the best thing for animation. It's a little bit tedious to work with. However, with the way that their outfits are constructed, it reminds me a lot of like Wizards of Waverly Place styling, for example, for Alex, you know. I've also found this jacket that obviously is very similar to this one that Irma wears, right? Also this one, kind of the combination also reminded me of this outfit, the brown and green, the type of layering, and just also the hair of this girl honestly looks a lot like Irma to me. And the last one that I have is this one because it reminded me of that outfit in terms of the tights, the mini skirt. The shirt is cropped, but it shouldn't be, except for the shirt. It kind of reminds me of that outfit, the boots too. Okay, so let's move on to Taranee. I still remember this specific image from the comics to this day. It's so strange how your brain sometimes just picks a thing and it just locks it in for years. It's been probably 14 years or something like that, something crazy like that, since I watched this show, and I still remember this image from the comics because I think I had the comics too when I was little. Not all the issues or anything like that, only a couple, but I think I did have those and I remember this image specifically. So with Taranee, the way that I would describe her style is she's got a lot of warm colors in her wardrobe. She also she wears a lot of orange in general, but warm palette is like what she leans towards most of the time. She also wears a lot of pants with a long top over it, and the top is kind of so long, which is also a very 2000s style. It's so low that it kind of looks like a dress on top of pants. Also, oftentimes was used on Disney shows, the ones that were made at the same time or around that time, you know. She wears that type of pants or that type of style, that type of layering quite a bit. Like for example, right here, yellow, mustard colors, a little bit of like greenish splashed here and there, a lot of brown and orange. This outfit reminds me of like an arts outfit. She is into math and she's very studious, but a lot of her style, a lot of her outfits reminds me of this whole art hoe kind of look, which is a very warm art girl, artist, sculptor kind of aesthetic that involves a lot of colors that kind of remind you of Van Gogh's palette, you know, his most famous paintings that involve a lot of yellow and orange, and she definitely has that kind of aesthetic about her. So I put a few outfits that heavily reference the art hoe aesthetic and especially see like the painting behind this girl. It's definitely all about this yellow, orange, burnt amber kind of colors. I also think that the hair and the accessories, the glasses, remind me of Taranee. This girl could literally be Taranee, except she is a little bit older, but if we were to cast somebody who's like 18 or like young adult-ish, this girl would be a perfect Taranee, right? Like down to the hair, come on. And I've also put some outfits like this because she has a few outfits that look like this, except the shirt under would definitely be a longer shirt or a shirt that's kind of like oversized or something like that. This is a perfect color palette for her as well. Put some bright, colorful overalls here as well with this burnt yellow or mustardy colored sweater. I've also put this outfit here. I had such a hard time finding this type of silhouette because all the images were just so lame. I don't know why, but it was like a whole issue. But this one kind of I think kind of exemplifies what Taranee could potentially wear, except maybe not in this gray color, something a little bit more warm tone, like it could be brown, it could be yellow, a little bit of red, or even something green could be also incorporated if it's like a sage green color, for example, or a bit of a darker green. I mean, she wears bright green too. I just don't think that the whole outfit should be green. And the last one that I've put here is this yellow cropped sweater kind of thing, because she has a lot of pieces that have this tying up situation going on, but basically anything that has those like kind of little shoelaces, just lacing anywhere where you could like tie it up would be nice for some of her shirts that she wears. So that's with Taranee. Let's move on to Haylin. Haylin is a free spirit and she's so fun. This is her party outfit with those cute little buns. She is just a joy, and you know that the most open-minded, artistic, and weird character would be my favorite based on me picking Madeline from Ever After High. She is one of my favorites as well, and her outfits are quite interesting because first of all, she wears a lot of purple. That's kind of like her color. Second of all, in the comics, she wears a lot of knee-high socks, knee-high most of the time, not thigh-high that much, and short skirts, a lot of layering, a lot of leg warmers, arm warmers, a lot of layering as well, of course, because it's the 2000s. For example, with this outfit, she has this mismatched arm warmers, which I love, so cute. There's this outfit that's very famous for being go-to image for all of those publications that came out about W.I.T.C.H back in the day. This is from the comics. You can see that she has those knee-high socks that are kind of sagging at the bottom because they're a lot longer than just being to the knee, and she has this short skirt with tank top, and also most importantly really big glasses like this. She just wears random big glasses here and there. I would put any and all kinds, the weirder the better, on her. This is one of the outfits that she wears in the show quite a bit. It's this green skirt with some pink in the pleats, like inside of the folds of the skirt, and this shirt right here with pink, orangey kind of yellow with green as well. And she also matches her hair ties to her outfits. Here's a better look at the outfit as well from straight on. I kind of wanted to take a few things from that. So for example, the more glasses she wears and the more arm warmers she wears, the better. Also, let me show you how frustrating it is to find anything that I want to find just by showing you the results when you just search up anything. First of all, have this image that shows you what comes up when you look up asymmetric green top. When you look that up, this is what shows up. Do you understand now why it takes me so long to find anything that I like? Because this is what I have to deal with, okay? Just who did I hurt to deserve this? And who did all of us hurt that we have to look at this when we look up anything on Pinterest? Anyway, and then this one is also just like an example. So I just looked up mini skirt, pleated, green, and pink, right? And this is what the internet, by the internet I mean Pinterest search, decided to show me. Just who did we hurt to get this? This one? Just really? What for? What for? Why are they the first ones to show up? And with hand warmers, I have to look up all the time hand warmers and stuff like that. Just look at these images. Don't they just make you want to cry? Who monopolized Pinterest with this god-awful images? Who did this? And why is their SEO so well done that they are the first ones to show up all the time? Let's continue with Haleen. Hand warmers, glasses. Also put this here because I really like the combination of glasses and the colors that she's wearing with this jacket and the hair. I would always have two ponytails. Usually they're low, but I think that if it were a show, a live action show, you could experiment a little bit more and just have like either pigtails or buns or whatever it is, but have two of them all the time for her. Not all the time, it's not a requirement. It's just I like it. I like what it looks like. Yeah, like having this bubble pigtails too also would be really cute. And then put more layering here with really long sleeves, a mini skirt like this with this kind of embroidery, which would be really cute. I've put this outfit here as well, mostly for the shoes with the socks combination as well as the hand warmers, because I have to get hand warmers wherever I can find them, where they don't look lame as hell, you know? I will take whatever images are out there to prove a point that hand warmers could be fantastic. They don't have to look lame as hell. I've put this outfit here. I think having like funny graphic tees would be really cool with some shirt. This is kind of like a reference to her other outfit. This image, like she's wearing a tank top with some jeans, and I would go for this kind of combination here as well. I also think that she would be the type of girl to wear deconstructed clothing because she makes clothes herself in the show. So I would go with a lot of reconstructed, deconstructed clothing, like this, for example. Again, hand warmers, but it looks like it's made out of other pieces of clothes and reconstructed into something new. I think that it would be very fitting for her character, as well as shoes with socks like this to just kind of, you know, this is literally the type of socks that she wears in the style that she wears. And I've put this image of Alex Russo, not for all of the outfits, but just for the amount of crazy layering in these two outfits, not the pieces themselves as much as just the amount of layering to demonstrate my point, because that's what I kind of arrived to earlier, and that's why I mentioned it before with this capri pants under skirts, for example. Just so much layering, always so much layering. Such a Disney Channel thing to do. And I also put this outfit here just because the socks were also really funky, and I thought that in a live action it would be cool to have her experiment even more with the outfits. And I thought that this outfit was really cute because the hair accessories, the hair tie is matched to the jacket, and I feel like this would be something that should be carried over into a live action for Halion, because it's a really, like, it's a cute quirk, you know. It's kind of fun to match your accessories to your clothes or whatever, especially even like little accessories like hair ties and stuff like that. And I just like how bright and fluffy this jacket is. Looks like it would be fitting for a free-spirited Halion. So these are my suggestions for this show. I think that for those people that created Fate the Winx Saga, which actually would have been a better fit for them because it's a little bit darker, especially in terms of powers. It's more elements based. The way that they kind of approached Winx powers was really wrong for Winx, but very right for Witch, because all of the Witch girls have an element and stuff like that. And another thing about it is that the castles and the magic and everything, and also the monsters from Witch are very much more kind of monstery looking things rather than what we have in Winx, where there's witches and other things like that. Anyway, I just think that it would have been a better fit, but they still would have butchered it, because even though it's a darker show to compare in colors specifically, darker than Winx, and it's less about the electronics and about the sci-fi aspect than Winx, this show is still brighter than and more interesting and exciting than Fate the Winx Saga. So I guess they would have still butchered it, but it would have been closer. It would have been closer just because of the monsters, for example, that the monsters are actually monsters, you know. Thank you for watching, and let me know what you guys have been watching. I'm a little bit bored because I'm a little bit sick, so I need something to watch, something to get inspired by. Just let me know what you guys been watching, what you've been doing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!